Ring the bell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Slam Society here. I'm your host, Karlifornia, once again with another review here of TNA and their latest pay-per-view, or PLE, No Surrender, from February 23rd, 2024 at the Alario Center in Westwego, Louisiana. Attendance for this show was 750 people, apparently, so very good. It's their second, premium live event under the TNA banner since Hard to Kill. If you've been keeping up with how I feel about TNA through my reviews on realprowrestling.com, you'll find out that I haven't been very happy with their creative since the relaunch of TNA. That's only because I expected better. I expected it to be a bit crazier. I expected there to be more stories and for it to really feel like total nonstop action, as opposed to Impact Wrestling with a fresh coat of paint. And by fresh coat, I mean their old coat of paint. But look, Vince Russo isn't writing the show, so it's not going to be like that. But I need to try and get over it. So I went into this pay-per-view trying to, I don't know, just watch it and enjoy it on its own merits. Okay, so we start off with the countdown to No Surrender with the Rascalz, Trey, Miguel, and Zachary Wentz against Speedball Mountain, Mike Bailey, and Trent Seven. So Trent Seven's finally shown up after being signed to TNA Final Resolution. So I thought Speedball Mountain were definitely in for a victory here to establish themselves as a tag team. I was not too happy with the start of the match because, of course, we get those obligatory fake dives to the outside. I expect better, really, for it to look so choreographed. Come on, boys. Trent and Mike did some choreographed dives as well. I thought, wow, this is not off to the best start. Maybe I went into this with a bad attitude, and I just said that I was going to try not to, but this is how I felt. I started watching this last night, and I finished it off today. Anyway, I'd say Mike Bailey's probably the best indie wrestler of the last 2 years. He really seems to have made a name for himself in the scene. He was in peril for some of this, but they're the hot tag to Trent Seven, who I know nothing about other than he was in NXT UK. I just thought this was an over-choreographed match. I'm sorry. Bailey hit a shooting star press for a near fall. Macklin got involved. Steve Macklin, who's been kind of siding with the Rascalz lately, and they won via submission in 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's move forward. Oh man, I'm pretty negative, and I do apologize. Frankie Kazarian cut a promo about his match with Eric Young, suddenly just being a #1 contendership match for the TNA World Title, which was decided upon by Director of Authority Santino Marella. And I said to myself, wow, that's a very, very lazy way of suddenly having this become a #1 contenders match, because as far as I'm concerned, Frankie and Eric, nothing against them, of course, but they've been nowhere near the world title program, and I don't understand how they could possibly be in contention to be #1 contenders. But Jesus, my glasses are always smudged, aren't they? All the time. I'm always taking them off, giving them a wipe. Oh my God. It's like it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Okay. Let's continue on. I'll just put up with it. Tag team match: Kevin Knight and KUSHIDA taking on the System. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards with Alisha Edwards at ringside. Alisha Edwards is just hubba, bro. This was very much like the first match, except it didn't feel as choreographed. I wrote the System have to win this one, please. And I'd say Kevin Knight is still not very established as far as I'm concerned. I've seen him a few times, but who is he? What is he all about? Come on, let's learn about these guys. You can't just keep hanging your hat on people, you know, having wrestling matches. So dime a dozen, man. Alisha kept getting involved in here. Kevin Knight got a hot tag and went nuts and showed off his athleticism. It was a good battle, some good near falls, but the roster cut followed by the Boston Knee Party ended it in 8 minutes 47. Very good. Moving forward to the actual pay-per-view or PLE, No Surrender. We open up with a TNA World Title Double Contenders match. Frankie Kazarian taking on Eric Young. These two obviously been feuding for a while after Frankie turned his back on Eric after 2 tag matches together because they lost both matches, and that made Frankie 100% change his whole disposition on who he is as a human being. Again, a bit weak as far as I'm concerned, brother. They sold the heat well here between the two. These two are the last two of a generation or of a bunch of people of a generation that give a SHIT about wrestling, a proper wrestling match without all the usual BS. Frankie was in charge early. He's got a solid right hand on him, doesn't he? Great drama. Eric locked in a crucifix pin to beat Frankie. And I couldn't see this feud being over yet. I couldn't see Frankie winning this because I couldn't see Moose losing later on. And I couldn't see Frankie versus Moose heel versus heel at the next pay-per-view. Frankie laid out the referee after the match, which was, you know what? This was awesome. He beat the living crap out of the referee. It wouldn't stop. And, oh my God, bro. Great stuff. Honestly, I really enjoyed that. So Eric Young wins in 9 minutes 23. Let's move forward. The Grizzled Young Vets have an interview with Gia Miller. They want the tag titles. It's this kind of stock standard interview. It's not going to be pretty. Gia was pretty, though. They're not utilizing her enough as a broadcast journalist on the shows. And I've said that also about NXT with Kelly Kincaid. TNA World Tag Team Title Best of 3 Series match number 3. The Grizzled Young Vets here, James Drake, Zack, Gibson, challenging the ABC, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay. So it's time for this feud-ending match. I believe it would be. Although I knew ahead of time that the Grizzled Young Vets lost this one because I got spoiled. But let's see how the match goes, I've already seen their 2 previous matches. James Drake dropkick Chris Bay off the apron. Huge dropkick, and I don't know why, but it made me laugh because Bay just disappeared. They got some good heat on Bay. Ace Austin eventually got a hot tag. I really skimmed through this one. I'm not giving a blow-by-blow. This went 17 minutes and 48 seconds. I thought it went a little too long, but the ABC were in double submissions. Then the Vets looked like they were going to try and finish them off. Austin got taken out, but then somehow they hit the whatever they call it, their finishing move to retain the titles. I'm sorry, I don't really care about the TNA tag titles and the tag title scene at the moment. Happy to see the Grizzled Young Vets there. I don't really have a big problem with the ABC. They just need to do something that makes things a bit more exciting because, again, matches and interview interruptions and attacks after the match, is there not any other scenarios we can come up with that will make things maybe a little bit more exciting or different or creatively pushing the envelope? There's got to be something we can come up with that's outside the arena. I know Anthem have fucking cut the budget. I don't know why they thought that now's the time to have to cut the budget again when they've just rebranded to TNA. All Scott D'Amore wanted was a bit more money so they could actually, I don't know, up the ante with the production and all the things that they maybe want to do storyline wise. We can't keep hanging our hat on these cookie cutter scenes backstage with interviews, and it's restricting them creatively, and This is how much is Anthem worth? I'm gonna check. Anthem, what is it? Anthem Sports and Entertainment. Okay. Anthem Sports and Entertainment net worth. Let's have a look. I hope that the internet will show me. Let's have a look. That says revenue 15 million. That they have more money than that, bro. Come on. I mean, I'm assuming that they're a billion-dollar company, right? I would have to assume that. You know what? I'm going to pause this for a second and find out. Okay, I couldn't find a definitive answer, but it says that their annual revenue is about $25 million. And something along those lines. But I also read something about that they just bought another company or something for $73 million or something like that. So they have money. They have to be like a near billion-dollar company, right? Would it hurt to throw a little bit more money into TNA? You want it to succeed. Do you want it to be profitable and become bigger? Then you need to invest in it anyway. Because this is what we got next. A really cookie cutter segment backstage with Speedball Mountain confronting Macklin and the Rascalz backstage because of the screw job. I don't know where Nick Nemeth is on this show. I'm assuming he had other plans. He had maybe a match elsewhere. Let's look at that. Nick Nemeth, cage match. Sorry, I want to know these things, and I probably should have checked beforehand. Okay, he was wrestling in Japan. Oh, okay. He beat David Finlay on the 23rd, which was the same day as his pay-per-view, to become the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. And then he teamed with Raisuke Taguchi against David Finlay and Gato the next day. Okay, well that explains why he wasn't on this pay-per-view. No problem. Okay, I won't be so mad about it. Anyway, let's move forward, hey? PCO taking on Con in the next match. I wrote, if Con loses this, he is done. If you want to get him over, he has to beat PCO. I've seen some other people who do reviews of Impact and TNA, and it's like there's this stigma just because a guy's a big guy and he's a bit slower that he's a bad wrestler. I've never seen anything wrong with Con. He's a big dude. He does what he needs to do. I don't know what everyone's problem is. Not everyone can be a high flyer. You marks. Christ's sake. They never give people like this a chance, and I think Con's great. Anyway, this was the brawl we came to expect. As a war on, PCO missed his shot off the top rope onto Con. And then Con ended up hitting PCO with a chair and the match was thrown out. And then Con kept on PCO, snapped his neck, his new little move there, and killed him. He's dead. PCO was dead. And then Con piled chairs on PCO, tossed the timekeeper around, and ragdolled him. Then PCO burst out of the rubble of chairs, attacked Con in the ring. PCO clocked Con with a dive. Then he wore him out with a chair. Con fought back on the stage and then laid PCO out. And then he tied him up and backed off and left the scene. So PCO wins this in 3 minutes 49. Backstage, Alex Shelley is asking for KUSHIDA and Kevin Knight and how he doesn't want them to throw in the towel for him. Well, we'll see what happens in that no surrender match. Moving forward, TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles. Decay, Havok, and Rosemary taking on MK Ultra, which is Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. Killer Kelly and Masha have the best entrance in wrestling today. Don't they? Yes, they do. Dave Penza not being the ring announcer. That is obvious. I'm not really happy about that, but I think he also was moving on with his life. I think he's got more into his real estate work, things of that nature. Maybe he didn't want to be traveling as much anymore, which is fair enough, bro. Just a shame that one of the classic voices of professional wrestling may not be heard in that way again. These teams brawled solidly to start. Masha so intense. Killer Kelly so hot. They had a great tactic. They were cutting the ring off well on Rosemary. They got intense in the eyes of defiance from Rosemary. What a line, Carl. What a great line. Havok got the hot tag and laid waste. But then Masha hit a snowplow and they won the belts back. So that's good stuff. I really was not happy with them losing in the first place, but as is tradition, we have the Knockouts tag titles go a little hot potato, hot potato. After the match, they attacked Decay and Jody Threat and Danny Luna made the save. I understand that they've been put together, but I do not think Jody Threat and Danny Luna make any sense as a team. I do not know if they have any chemistry, but I will give it a chance because they need to have the chance to get that chemistry, don't they? Moose says backstage he won't quit tonight because he will trust the system. See, it's nothing against Moose or anything. It's just like, come on, guys. We think of something. We think of some exciting stuff to happen during the show. Singles match, Simon Gotch taking on Josh Alexander. So this was pretty interesting as far as I'm concerned because I saw the worldwide groan from people when they saw Simon Gotch had shown up in TNA, but I'm like, just give him a chance. He did pretty good on that segment with Alan Angels, so, you know. I felt like this was Simon Gotch's biggest match of his career because he's been kind of off the radar as far as televised pro wrestling is concerned over the last few years. And I think it was necessary for him here to have a good showing and show everyone, hey, I'm actually pretty good. Don't just hang your hat on the fact I was in the Vaudevillains for 10 years ago or whatever. I thought Alan Angels was going to interfere here, but he did not. Josh was too much for Simon early on. They trade everything. He even got on his former tag team partner, Aiden English, in his case. Ray Walt had some great insight. Wow, there's a lot of spelling mistakes in this article. Gotch was in charge for some of it. Josh weathered the storm. This was like a typical Josh Alexander match where they go balls to the wall and have a really good match. They got to keep Josh busy because he's going to be back in the championship section of the card at some point. Gotch got beat though with the C4 spike in 16 minutes 43 seconds. It was a pretty good match. I will give Simon some props that he stuck in there with Josh Alexander. It's nearing 11 p.m. and I have to be up for work in 7 hours, so I need to hurry up and get this done. I'm sorry. And then I got to edit it, and then I got to upload it. TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line in the next one. It's a no surrender rules match. Moose with the system takes on Shelley with Kevin Knight and KUSHIDA at ringside. So the rules of the match are there's no pinfalls, no submissions. The people that are at ringside have a towel in their hand, and if they decide to throw in the towel, then you lose. So this was a really interesting match. The psychology was interesting because they weren't trying to go for a pinfall. They were just trying to torture one another to make their ringside representatives throw in the towel. So it was different. I liked it. Torturing each other with wrenches on fingers, and at one stage Moose trapped Alex Shelley's hand in the turnbuckle and smashed it with a chair. It was disgusting. Moose got powerbombed off the second rope onto the corner of a trash can that was upside down. Ouch, dude. Alex Shelley, here's an interesting tidbit. He needs to shampoo and condition his hair, or he needs to put a treatment through it because it looked absolutely terrible in this matchup. It's like he didn't wash it that day. Alex Shelley locked in a Border City stretch with a chain around Moose's mouth. Out of the blue, though, like I know Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers kept on interfering, but out of the blue, Kevin Knight did a dive to the outside, jumping off the back of KUSHIDA onto Eddie and Brian, and they were just standing there waiting for it. And I'm like, come on, guys. Eventually, through all of this distraction, Moose hit a spear on Alex Shelley, sorry, followed by another one. KUSHIDA didn't really want to throw in the towel for Alex, but he did it anyway as Moose hit a spear with a chain wrapped around his shoulder and then a second one. Now, for me, I don't know if that is towel throw-in worthy. I might have had him spear him twice for the chain. I would have had maybe Alex Shelley starting to cough up blood. I would have had Moose setting up a table to go for a fifth spear through a table in the corner. He's spitting up blood. That's why KUSHIDA throws in the towel. I wasn't too sure about the way that they went about it, but anyway, 20 minutes, 7 seconds. Coming up next, TNA Knockouts World Title match. Ash by Elegance is introduced to the show by her personal concierge. She should have been wearing a nice coat, bro. Like, first time we saw her, she was wearing a nice coat. Got to keep it in theme, you know? You have to. She should be coming out in a nice fancy... Anyway, I just thought it was a bit plain. It was a nice dress, but a bit plain for the character. And Tom Hannafin popped me when he said, I really hate this concierge guy, to be honest. So she's sitting at ringside for this match, and I do mention it later, but is the budget that bad that she has to sit there in a computer chair? Like, can we not get her a really nice looking chair? Like, hire something from a local shop that's like looks like a throne. I don't know. I don't know what's out there, but it just didn't look right for her character. Anyway, Jordan Grace defends against Giselle Shaw here for the Knockouts title. We know Jordan's not losing it. She only just won it, so. But I would say I think Giselle Shaw will win the title for the first time at some point this year. She's been dedicated. She's been getting better and better. I see the concerted effort, especially with the aggressiveness of the ring. Giselle kind of botched a spinning splash off the top rope. It wasn't timed very well, but, you know, it's okay. Another thing with Ash by Elegance and all that, I think a habit TNA has is that too many people get into the hunt for championships in easy fashion as they join the company. Because soon after this, bet you anything, she's going to be working with Jordan Grace. Just like Mustafa Ali comes in, he's got a World X Division title match. Who else has just come in? The Grizzled Young Vets didn't take them long to get. I think they got a tag title match the first time they ever had a match in TNA. You know, when Naomi was there as Trinity, didn't take her long to ascend to the top and become the Knockouts champ. Anywho, that's just nitpicking, I know. Giselle Shaw hit a Spanish fly off the ring apron onto the floor, and that was so painful looking. It was a very good match. Jordan Grace ended up putting Shaw away, though, with the Juggernaut driver in 10 minutes 38. Jake something cuts a promo, wanting a shot at the winner of the X Division title match. So even though he won like a 6-man scramble recently, with a lot of X Division guys, was that hard to kill? I can't remember, but he doesn't get a title shot yet, but Mustafa Ali gets one in his debut match. It's okay. It's nitpicking. And I'm getting tired. I can tell. Can you tell? So, look, very good match here. Look, my review here, I've written for realprowrestling.com is a bit more of a blow by blow, but, you know, look, these two were really intense with one another. Great high flying stuff. The crowd were really into it. Sabin did some great stuff with that signature tornado DDT, bro. You can tell I'm tired because I'm not pronouncing words properly. The Good Hands got involved at some point. I did like it when Chris Sabin cross-bodied all of the hired goons of Mustafa Ali at ringside. Ali countered a top rope cradle shock into a sunset flip, and he finished the match with a 450 splash to claim the X Division Championship. I don't have a problem with Ali. I've just never really gotten to his character. Just as I started to get to know his character in NXT, he was gone. But again, it's so TNA for an ex-WWE guy to come in and win the belt in, quick succession. Despite my complaints, it was a very good match. 19 minutes, 37 seconds. My thoughts, I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10. Nothing blew me away. It was kind of just below very good. It was just good. All right. I just can't seem to shake how I feel about TNA at the moment. A couple of years ago at this time of the year, they were on fire. They were having such great pay-per-views. The creative seemed so good and solid. I don't know what's going on. I know they've obviously had some changes, but I've been feeling this way since before Scott D'Amore left. And to harp on that a little bit, I'm really disappointed that Scott D'Amore was removed from TNA. Because you see that guy cutting all those passionate promos about being so proud of where he finally got them to, and that TNA was back, and he was so proud of what he had accomplished. And for him to just lose his job that way over nothing, just over a difference of opinion and wanting a bit more of a budget. That to me, again, is such a TNA thing. And I'm going to continue to support TNA. They deserve support. They deserve people to still give them support, because those wrestlers, the people that work behind the scenes there, they've done a lot of hard work to try and get this thing back to where it once was. They're on the cusp of getting to where they want to be. And then something like this happens and it kills morale when morale could not have been higher. So we'll see what happens. I'll continue to support them. So there we have it. Thank you for joining us here on the Slam Society, formerly known as the WZWA Network. Please let us know what you thought of the TNA No Surrender pay-per-view in the comments. And let us know what you think of the rebrand as well. Really appreciate your time checking out the review here. I'm Karlifornia, and I will see you next time. Thank you.